We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our world broadcasting tag team champions of the world and a cruiserweight champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 182 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I'm your host, Ethan. You can find me on Twitter at Ethan985. Follow the analyst James Williams at
JHW Reporter.
And you can follow producer Rob Flores at
Rob Flores Media. And don't forget the R250 for Ethan.
Busy couple days. James knows he's had a busy couple of days here.
It's been a busy couple of days. There's been some funny moments, so we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But obviously, I'm streaming from the backseat of my car because I was hanging out at the Rams parade earlier today in front of the LA Memorial Coliseum. Had a fun time. Everyone was nice and wholesome. There was almost a few fights, some street fights. Some people almost got the old 1-2, but everyone was composed and on their best behavior. Some were drinking some water, and others were drinking stronger water. And the stronger water left some people dizzier and stumbling around a little more than others. But there were no matches that took place in front of the Coliseum that I was aware of, but that's how it be sometimes. But no, I had a great time. The parade was pretty wholesome. For those who don't know, you got a lot of studs on the Los Angeles Rams who won Super Bowl 56, including Aaron Donald, who looks like a stud and looks like he could beat up anybody he wants. So, and speaking of that, we can talk about this a lot more, but Aaron Donald was shouted out by Brock Lesnar, who called himself one of one on the Pat McAfee show. And he also called Aaron Donald of the LA Rams a one of one kind of guy. So there you go. See how I tied all that back into wrestling?
There you go. One team that isn't getting a parade anytime soon, the Jacksonville Jaguars, owned by the Khan family. Of course, Tony Khan. You love that transition, don't you?
I'm dead. That was great.
All right, Tony Khan, of course, owner of AEW. Interesting stuff going on over there in AEW, as they like to call it. This was as of yesterday. This was Tuesday, the 15th. This was released a statement by one, I guess former now at this point, Executive Vice President Cody Rhodes. I'm going to try and go through some of this quickly. It's a pretty long statement. I might not go through it all, but here it goes. I have loved my time at AEW. Amazing locker room, amazing fans, amazing people. The revolution was indeed televised, and I have been incredibly lucky to be a part of that. First, I want to thank Tony Khan. He's taken the baton and run with it, and it was an honor to work for him. And to know him on a personal level. He's a beautiful soul. Obviously, need to thank my incredible wife, the mother of my baby girl, Brandy, for all her love and support throughout the journey together, and the amazing relationship she fostered with Culture City and American Heart Association. He went on to go thank a number of individuals.
Everyone in the locker room?
Most people in the locker room, including his, I think, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And
Jericho,
and some of his like trainees, some of the younger individuals like MJF, Jade, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allen, and so on. This was a statement from AEW, if I can get this up really quick, as well, regarding the departure of one Cody Rhodes
and Brandy Rhodes.
Yes, Brandy has also departed the company. Which is came before we read the following statement. I mean, that's a huge deal as well, because they kind of came out of nowhere. Basically, the status of Cody's contract and I guess Brandy's contract. I don't really know if hers came up at the same time, but I do know Cody's contract came up at the end of December, the end of 2021. He had not re-signed as of earlier this year, obviously, and I guess he was working on kind of a per week basis. We had heard that he had potentially was going to re-sign or something. Obviously, things took a turn for the worse over the last week or so. I believe, basically, without having to look up anything, he basically wanted a big payout, and apparently Tony Khan was not willing to give him that big payout as he requested, or as he was looking for. So that obviously played a big part in that. Who knows what other backstage issues potentially could have occurred over the last few weeks or even several months that they've been going on about. But quite an interesting situation there. I want to trying to pull up this.
Ethan, everybody has a price, but that does not mean everybody agrees with it.
Exactly. This is AEW's statement regarding the departure of Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Cody and Brandy Rhodes were integral to the launch of AEW Wrestling. Cody's ability, combined with his boldness and his passion for our industry, his love for community outreach, helped AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for far too long, something new, innovative, and lasting. Brandy helped us shape the AEW story, and I appreciate how hard she fought for us, both in the ring and out of the ring, competing in the women's division while advancing our efforts inclusion and civic causes, including great partnerships with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I have immense respect and appreciation for Cody and Brandy, and I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. Thank you, Cody and Brandy. Tony Khan, CEO, President, General Manager, and Head of Creative, All Elite Wrestling. I don't know if he needed a general manager, but yes, that was a statement from Tony Khan. A very diplomatic statement, obviously, there. It seems like they were definitely parting ways. As soon as like the statement was released, within like the hour, um, there was already talk of Cody apparently being in contact with WWE officials. This comes from Cultaholic, which is a pretty trusted wrestling source, and several other sites have been reporting it as well. Cody Rhodes is no longer just expected to sign with WWE. His return is actually happening, according to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated. Sources close to the situation have confirmed that his next destination will be back where his career started in WWE. Barrasso wrote, "When exactly Cody will re-debut on WWE TV remains to be seen, but Sports Illustrated speculated the American Nightmare could film segments at the Performance Center this weekend." Reports have noted Rhodes is expected to receive a big push once he does appear on TV again. The three-time TNT champion isn't expected to be joined by his wife, Brandy, however, although that does not mean her professional wrestling career is over, only that she won't be making her own return in Vince McMahon's company, and kind of went on a little more about his career. But yeah, so that was kind of the latest report as of 6 hours ago. Of course, yesterday when everything broke, there was speculation that he was going back, and it appears that he may have already signed something. So, big news. This is kind of the first, if this is happening, because apparently there were some people that still think this is a work. I put a poll. I don't know if you saw. I put a poll.
I did not.
There was a poll. I even asked a question on the BTR, by the way, at Real BTR Radio. You can go follow us there. Is AEW leaving? No, excuse me. Is Cody Rhodes leaving AEW a work? Because there was a lot of people. Oh no, it's not happening. 55% actually said yes, it's a storyline. 27% said no, he's WWE bound. 0% said no. Said there was no one saying yes, he was using it for like leverage in the company, and 18% say he's not signing with AEW, he's signing elsewhere. So there you go. A lot of people still think it's a work, but I think within the last 24 hours, I think a lot of people have changed their minds on that. But it's interesting. The first kind of major jump, from
going the other way.
AEW, from going from AEW to WWE. We've seen several obviously jumps WWE to AEW because of all the releases they've had. But the big one here is the first one would be a former executive vice president in Cody Rhodes. That's kind of a big deal. As someone's walking right behind James Carr.
Someone's trying to run interference on my show, but I told her we weren't having it. No, anyway, she seems like a very nice lady. No, but it's kind of surprising, kind of interesting. Wasn't expecting that when I first heard the news. I did think it was a work, or I thought something was up, but you're getting statements from both sides. Now, if this is a work, this is a different kind of work as far as I'm concerned. But
I mean, if you put out statements like that, you would kind of ruin future statements, like actual statements. If you
are
working
that's
people,
true.
that's the thing. You kind of just you're gonna lose the trust of people. Everybody's gonna think every time you do it, it's gonna be a work.
That's a very good point. No, to me, it's just kind of weird because I don't know. It's like you kind of want to almost look at it differently, but I think it still holds true. It's kind of like I kind of thought I thought maybe Cody had put more money. I don't know. I thought Cody was in charge. I thought he was running the show. I thought AEW did not happen without Cody Rhodes leaving WWE.
It's been. I think it's been Khan, especially over the last recent months. I think it's been way more Khan than anyone. I don't think Cody put any money in, but I think he's had an influence over.
Right.
Definitely some of the creative control and maybe the tactical aspects of the show, because obviously his father, Dusty Rhodes, obviously did that when he was in his prime, I guess. But so I mean, he's learned all that. But from the business side of things, it looks like Tony Khan's kind of taken much more control. Yes, there was also Rob put in the comments here. Loss of booking power led to Cody leaving. Yeah, I've heard in recent months that Tony Khan's kind of been more strict or more hard. I'm not gonna say hard to work with, but someone who's definitely been more focused on the creative, doing it himself. I'll say.
I would say, okay, so look, I don't watch AEW every week. I hardly ever watch it, right? I admit that. But it did seem like Cody was away for like a long period of time, was he not? And he's been doing these other TV shows. One of them is supposed to be a series where he's like with T-Pain on a TNT or on TBS. It's all part of that same network, right?
Correct.
And I'm just thinking, is he still going to be on those shows? If not,
so Cultaholic, actually one of their most recent posts, saying that Roads to the Top, his reality show with Brandy, is seemingly finished. So I'm gonna assume this season of the Go Big show or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
the one you're talking about. I'm assuming that's probably gonna be his last season.
So this Cody Rhodes and Brandy did have a show, right?
They had the
I thought they were working on it, but I don't know if it ever got.
Yeah, the one season got put out. I don't know if they were already filming. I'm sure they were probably filming season 2. Obviously, I think that's ended with the relationship with TNT or Warner, AEW. If he's not within the company, there's no reason to continue the show.
But I just think he had been away for so long, and I think maybe there's just an opportunity for him to take on new TV ventures. It seems like if that's the where they're diving into, or maybe they're finding those opportunities to do so. I think he might not come back to any wrestling company right away, right? I think maybe he's doing more stuff with TV if those opportunities are there and presenting themselves. But Yeah, maybe he got something with USA, right? And if he's going to be on one of those channels, why not go back to WWE? But I just think it's so interesting that he would be going back to WWE. One, it doesn't seem like they're in the market to be signing people, considering all the people they're releasing. I mean, it does make sense. And if you're able to sign in more guys the way you have, and I've been saying this, they're getting so many more people, but not letting a whole lot of people go. And we've seen a few people kind of trickle out, but I would imagine if Cody was making any real substantial amount of money, him finishing up that contract, and all of a sudden you have guys like Keith Lee and maybe some others kind of coming in. Maybe that's where some of that contract money goes. But just very interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know about the WWE thing. Like, I know there were some jokes about like him putting a hammer through Triple H's throne and all these other things, and that seems to be taken care of, or I mean, not taken care of, but he had given Vince a lot of credit, and there was a lot of credit towards Vince, early on. I remember seeing that in some interviews. So it's not like he hates Vince. It's not surprising that he would go back to the WWE, but
That's where the money's at. Well, that's exactly. Yeah. I want to talk about how
they going
to book them after the break. I do want to go briefly into that as well. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like TV ventures, I don't know what that means in terms of. I mean, yes, he was doing stuff on TNT again, aligned with AEW. He was an EVP. He leaves that. I mean, does he get his own reality show over on USA? I don't know, but
I mean, I think if they make him a big enough offer, and couple that with, hey, show up on WWE, I can see it being a possibility.
Yeah, possibly. So, should be interesting. We know his relationship with the other members of the Elites kind of, at least rumors have soured, because he hasn't been on screen with them since like the show started. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean,
like it looks like, judging by a number of the wrestlers, he was well respected by several individuals, but I'm sure he definitely had some people that probably didn't agree with his philosophy, and we'll talk more about that right after the break, right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 182 of Beyond the Ropes. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. Before the break, we were talking about Cody Rhodes. He's officially departed with AEW as well as his wife, Brandy. However, Cody is expected to sign a WWE contract. At least that's what they're saying. They obviously being the internet wrestling community. Interesting notes. We talked about him wanting a big money contract. If anyone's going to give him a contract, it's going to be WWE. Obviously, they have some money to spare, especially if they've been releasing people. And who knows? They're probably. I would not be surprised if they release more people after Mania again. Kind of the unfortunate truth there. But it looks like with AEW signing names like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, most recently Keith Lee, Jay White, a number of these guys, Cody Rhodes was basically kind of left out of that picture there. You mentioned,
but it's just go ahead.
You mentioned him kind of being away. Yeah, he would do this thing over especially the last year and a half, or especially during the pandemic, where he would show up on TV for a few weeks, do a feud, and then disappear. And he's done it a few times. So obviously he was doing the shows, the Go Big Show and his reality show and all that stuff. But it's like you can't really get invested into his stuff. A lot of his stuff has been mixed reactions, especially recently. People have been wanting him to turn heel. They've been booing him and Brandy quite a bit over on TNT and TBS. So it's interesting. He mentioned he never wanted to turn heel, and that's why he never did, or hasn't yet. Who knows? I'm sure if he signs with WWE, if Vince wants him to turn heel, he will. Um, but go ahead. Do you have any other thoughts on it? Before I want to talk about kind of how he would be booked if he did sign with
Right.
WWE.
Yeah, I think you kind of said it there, like when you said the last year and a half, right? And I'm like,
There's only 3 years of
hasn't it?
AEW.
Hasn't AEW only been around a year and a half? You said 3. I feel like it hasn't even been that long, but I'm like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Did he? And he never won the world title.
He lost a match that stipulated that he wasn't able to compete for the world title. Of course, then he would go on to win the TNT Championship 3 times. Kind of make that title one of the titles. So,
but I just thought, like, you know, I don't know. It's just weird. I did feel like he missed a lot of time, or he wasn't there, and I kind of forgot he was even on AEW. But with that being said, too, what was I gonna say? Yeah, him with this new tattoo. How do you introduce that into your booking, as you said you were gonna try and mention here?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You ignore it. Put some makeup on it. Just tell him to cover it up. I don't know.
I mean, it's
Just
it's
ignore
not
it.
a little.
Ignore it.
It's not a little hickey now, Ethan. It's not a little hickey.
I mean, you put it in his graphics. You do what? That's his logo. Everyone kind of recognizes him. Here's the one thing. The one thing you can say about Cody Rhodes, since he left WWE in 2016, 2017, he's been around the world. He's been he competed in Impact Wrestling. He won the Ring of Honor World Title. He was in New Japan Pro Wrestling, won the U.S. title there. NWA champion. You know, he's went around the world, successfully had All In, which was kind of the predecessor to AEW, then became an EVP. He's made himself a bigger star than he was when he left WWE, and that's kind of what he wanted. I know he didn't want to linger in the mid card division, so I think Cody Rhodes.
I don't know how you linger on the mid card of your own show.
Well, he wasn't trying to book himself like Hogan.
Well, right, but
not to mention he also had Tony Khan calling the shots. I mean, I'm sure it'll come to light soon eventually that Tony Khan probably was vetoing a bunch of stuff from Cody and who else. So it's not like Cody had final say on everything, unless you're a billionaire. I heard this from one of the podcasts I listened to when discussing this. Unless you're a billionaire, you're not gonna get, you're not gonna book yourself to be the top guy. It's been known. It's Vince and Tony Khan on their respective brands calling the final shots. So at the same time, it's a matter of, okay, well, if I'm not getting what I want here, let me go elsewhere. I'm a bigger name now. I can get more money from WWE. I'm sure they would like to have me because that's a big deal. Cody Rhodes leaving AEW as, when he was EVP, going back to WWE. Oh, that's a big signee. Not everything's greener on the other side,
Yeah.
It'll open maybe the doors for some people that are frustrated in AEW. Because there are a few people, apparently, a few people haven't been re-signed. We had the Big Swole incident, who was the AEW Women's World Champion pretty much for a year during the pandemic. She recently had an interview where she's basically stuck in catering in AEW right now.
That's tough.
Wrestling. So apparently there's some frustrated individuals, in AEW. So if WWE books Cody Rhodes properly this time around, it leaves that door open to several AEW wrestlers who might be frustrated and could potentially get signed. Hey, maybe I could go to WWE. Maybe it isn't as bad as I hear it is. Not to mention you probably make more money there. So it's just an option. I think Cody Rhodes probably the best thing for him to do. Get involved in like an upper mid card feud. If you put him with Roman right now, or put him in the world title picture, unless he wins the title, like, and you can't have him win the title. You can't have someone from outside of the company win the title right away.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good look. That would be a good look for them. So you have him linger, have some non-title feuds. You have guys like Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, some guys that are up in mid card, could be in the main event scene. There you go. I think that's a good setup, especially if you're going to bring him just in time for WrestleMania. I think you can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of see where you would possibly want to do that, but you got to get him into the main card spot. I mean, at some point, like early on, like
I think you
this
put
is
him.
a guy who is in charge of AEW. Like you have to feature him prominently just from that standpoint as a haha. Like we got one of your most influential guys at AEW, one of your grandfathers of AEW, and he's already flipped over a year and a half, however many years it was. That's crazy.
He's not going to be chasing the 24/7 championship. I'll tell you that.
Maybe not the first year, but
he might put on the Stardust costume next year, but no. This year he'll I think he'll be in prominently featured. Someone who's going to be prominently featured in anything he's in, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Rumors circulated a couple days ago. This was on a Monday, I believe, that Stone Cold Steve Austin had reportedly been contacted by WWE about making one more match at WrestleMania this year. This would be his first match in nearly 20 years. And apparently yeah, exactly. He's being offered
so long.
He's being offered a huge money amount. This comes from SI Sports Illustrated.
Mm-hmm.
So this is some news here. One of the biggest stars in professional wrestling could be coming out of retirement for their first match in 20 years. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, who got murdered by Jim Cornette on Twitter the other day. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
Go listen to that 21 minute clip on the Cornette YouTube. Great. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported on Monday night that WWE is discussing Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Kevin Owens on a possible WrestleMania 38 match. If the 57-year-old Austin were to wrestle at the show, it would be the first match since facing The Rock at WrestleMania 19 in 2003. But there is no done deal. Fightful first reported that WWE has made a significant overture toward Austin returning to the ring at WrestleMania 38. Fightful wrote that at the very least, Austin is expected for a physical role at the show. So interesting enough, the story for the potential Austin Owens match appears to have already started to unfold on WWE television, which is actually true. In storyline, whether Owens is even going to have a match at WrestleMania has been in question. A promo aired on this past Monday, that Owens insulted Texas and said the one good thing about not being a WrestleMania is that he wouldn't have to wrestle in Dallas. So there you go. They've already planted some seeds. You kind of made a face. Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Not into it?
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Owens hasn't done anything for me lately, to be honest. And outside of him maybe having a whole lot of respect for Steve Austin and using the stunner, I don't know what else there would be to offer. And to come back for that to be your last match or whatever, I don't know if that's like what all is there to make that appealing. And what did you say his age was? 57?
Mm-hmm.
No thanks. I mean, I know they're coming back, and that prime window can get into the 40s sometimes now with AJ now, and it's not like it was back in the day where you're too old at 37 or something, but 47 is a little different. So I don't know. I don't think it would happen, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't
I
know if I
think
do.
I
I
think
don't know if
Kevin
I'd care to
Owens
see it.
can. I think Kevin Owens can help carry Austin. I don't know about Austin's condition. It's been 20 years. I mean, Kevin Owens takes bumps like crazy.
That's 20 years. I mean, I feel like 10 years would be a long time, or 5 years. It's not having someone wait that long. 20
Yeah,
years. You're talking about a
11
whole generation he's missed.
It was 11 years for Edge. Um,
And Edges was kind of like wow, double digits.
yeah. Um, so I don't know. I mean, from a standpoint, the promos would be good.
Sure, I would think so.
Promos would be good. I think Kevin Owens is a great wrestler. I agree. He
Mm-hmm.
maybe hasn't had the best work, although I loved his work with Seth recently. But in terms of before that, he wasn't doing a whole lot either. It
Right.
wasn't just until this recent contract that he just signed that he's kind of been a little more prominent. And
Mm-hmm.
what a better way? I mean, you sign a contract, you say you're signing it, to make money for your family, and then you potentially get an offer to wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. I mean, that'd be good for him. Would he go over?
Yeah,
Probably. You have to go Austin, right? I mean, if that does happen. Um,
you would
unless
think so, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Austin do the job on the way out. But again, I don't see him coming in for just one match and it being lost. We don't need to.
that's true. I mean, who knows? So I mean, we'll see. It's nothing. That's not set in stone. They're still up in the air. Um, so that's interesting there. Another big news that came out earlier today or later last night. Apparently, there is expected to be another big Stone Cold level name expected at WrestleMania.
The
So
Rock.
there, I think The Rock is heavily rumored to show up at WrestleMania this year.
I mean, who else would it be? Like,
We're gonna
even
bring
just
back the third man, of course.
might as well. And maybe
Player,
we'll see him this time. Who?
player.
Player. Teddy
No,
Long?
Eddie Long is coming back. Did you see
Is he
that
the
My
third
GM
man?
that GM mode trailer?
I want to get it. I don't know. Is it a full trailer just on
It's a trailer on the
standard
My
mode
GM.
or GM?
Yeah,
I
the
don't think I
GM
did
mode.
see that.
Yeah, it's out.
I don't think I did. I'll have to check that because that would be a big deal for sure.
You can make your own GM. You have
Oh,
James
you
joining us.
can?
Yeah.
Wait, you can pick your own character, or you still have to be one of like the 4 options that they give you?
No, you could create your own GM as well.
Oh,
We're
I
gonna have
didn't know
James.
that.
You call the shots, James.
Yeah,
You have me
and
on
wave my
there.
finger.
Wait,
Holla, holla, holla.
you have me on there. You could create Teddy Long. A lot of people
You're
were.
fired.
You could Vince McMahon. You can Vince.
That's
Tony
kind of
Khan.
interesting.
Tony
Oh
Khan.
my god. I
Dixie.
think I would get it. I would get, I think I'm gonna get I think I'm gonna get this next wrestling game just because there wasn't one last year, I believe. So I'm gonna get this next one and check it out, and we'll see where they go.
Unless they're releasing it for the Switch, I can't get it. So out of luck,
Um,
they're not releasing it for the Switch. Which is a shame.
maybe not. They had 2019 out for the Switch, but I don't remember. But that was the last one. But I think that was the last WWE 2K game they had in general. So
It was 2K20 was the last one. And no,
okay.
I don't think they didn't have a Switch for the Switch. On my online feed, I think 2K18 is the last one for the
Or maybe it's
Switch.
18. Is that the one with Rollins?
Yeah, that's the only one I see.
Yeah, that's the last
The
one. Yeah.
be first and only one for the Switch. So they have
That
not
sounds right.
announced Hall of Fame inductees, but we're gonna have a few. We're having a Hall of Famer compete this weekend. It would have already happened. Goldberg, our favorite character, Bill, facing Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. It's happening this Saturday. Why are you making that face, sir? You don't seem too thrilled.
No, it's annoying. He's annoying. We want Cade or Gage Goldberg.
You want Gage?
Gage, yes. I want to see him get tombstoned.
I think Gage would acknowledge his tribal chief. And speaking of acknowledging, I acknowledge my tribal chief. James, would you like to acknowledge your tribal chief?
Not at this moment. I'll save my acknowledgement for LA Knight on a different segment.
When we return, we'll talk more Roman Reigns. And stay with me, James. L.A. Knight. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 182 of Beyond the Ropes. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes. Of course, YouTube, just search up Beyond the Ropes and you'll see our beautiful faces there. Let's talk about Brock Lesnar, who will be competing inside the Elimination Chamber. By the time this is on the radio, it would have already happened. We'll give our review on Elimination Chamber next week. But let's talk about Brock Lesnar on the Pat McAfee show, shall we?
Oh, my God. I am Team Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has personality. Brock Lesnar is funny. Brock Lesnar can sing. He was singing on this interview. He's breaking tables. He was flexing. He was laughing. He was promoting his new steak seasoning. He told a story about how he put Wee Man through a table. It was great stuff. And Brock Lesnar doesn't do a whole lot of interviews. And when he has that interviews, they were normally in character. But now we're getting to see more of this Brock, and Brock's kind of embracing it, and you can kind of see. And yeah, I thought it was really good, really open, and just kind of like just refreshing to see. And I thought maybe it would be like 10, 20 minutes, and because sometimes that's usually what you get out of sometimes a Pat McAfee show, but he went like 2 segments long. It was a 45-minute episode. Stone Cold impressions, saying what, and it was great. I gotta watch it again.
I heard he put Vince over.
He put Vince over. Yeah, he did. He said they don't always agree eye to eye, but put him over.
I also heard he'll keep on doing this as long as he stops having fun and as long as he keeps getting paid. I heard about that. I heard he seemed very humble. He said he didn't care about his legacy. Really, not worried about other people what think about him. So I heard a few things about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, some interesting stuff. So I'll have to check that out. I saw the table segment where he kind of broke it.
Oh, the table spot was freaking hilarious. Please, I encourage you guys, please go watch this interview. Pat McAfee does a really great job with interviews. I think having like Brock, I think it worked out nicely. I learned a lot about Brock, and it made you realize, like, because the vibe I always got from Brock Lesnar is he came to the arena, went straight to his own personal locker room, and didn't talk to anybody. And that appears not to be the case. It has a very good relationship with McAfee. Says he's, like he's aware of the things that he's done, and that he put McAfee over and said he's the life of like SmackDown, and like really helps make that show. And it was fun. It was a really fun interview. It really was. I can't put it over enough, to be honest.
I think he's wrong. I think Roman Reigns puts the life on SmackDown. But go ahead.
Oh, and he said that Roman and Paul are gonna get their comeuppance. And but speaking of two people we've mentioned now already, one being Tony Khan, the other being Pat McAfee. Both of them were on Radio Row for the Super Bowl this past week. And my colleague over at the Southern California News Group, Gilbert Manzano, who's also our Chargers beat writer and has his own podcast, with one of his fellow beat writers on the Chargers beat. I think it's called Compass on the Beat. I think that's right. I think that's the name of their podcast. But anyways, they were on Radio Row and had the opportunity to sit down and talk to Tony Khan, sit down with Pat McAfee, and I thought those were very interesting. I know they asked Pat McAfee on the success he's had and what advice he can give to anyone looking to kind of start their own kind of content. So I recommend you go and check that out. Some of those clips are on Twitter, and the one from Tony Khan, it was at least the first I heard of it, so that's why I'm plugging it. But I think they said All In. I believe that's the one it was where they first started. I think that was the first AEW pay-per-view that was in Vegas. I think he said that's coming back and that's going to be in Vegas. I don't know if that's All In or whichever the first one was.
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. So he said that's going to be back in Vegas, and he kind of and my colleague Gilbert had asked if they were going to try and get back on the West Coast any further than Vegas, and he just left it at Vegas for now. But it looks like as the pandemic starts to kind of clear up here, we might start seeing some more West Coast action out of AEW here soon.
Scared of coming to California.
What'd you say?
I'm scared of coming to California.
Why is that?
I don't know. You don't want to come here.
Because Brock Lesnar is going to put him through a table.
Probably.
But no, so great stuff by Gilbert. And again, Pat McAfee, Tony Khan, a bunch of other NFL related topics and stuff. So yeah, a great stuff over there by them. They did a good job this week, and yeah, just wanted to make sure we get them in there and plug them a little bit because they did a great job.
Let's talk about Elimination Chamber. Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Bill Goldberg, everyone's favorite WWE Hall of Famer. It's happening. We're going to give our predictions over on the Twitter. If you didn't know what the predictions were, they're on Twitter at RealBCR Radio. It's happening 9 a.m. this Saturday for us over here on the West Coast. I have it off, so I'm excited. I'm going to be up early. I'm going to be texting Jane. I'm going to be calling them, FaceTiming them. I'll be, getting them up early. We can watch it together.
Wait.
You're all lost. You're all flustered, sir.
9 a.m. Friday?
9 a.m. Saturday.
Because I forgot it was a Saudi Arabia show. I thought it was...
We're going back to Saudi.
Saturday.
We got the Women's Elimination Chamber match happening. We got Nikki ASH.
I actually wanted to ask you about that.
Bianca Belair. We got Liv Morgan. We got Doudrop. I forget anything. We got Alexa Bliss. She just got added. Alexa Bliss just got added.
Alexa Bliss randomly added, I felt. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it because I walk in, I'm watching, it was Belair and Ripley in a match. I guess it was a gauntlet match, I think, where, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Ripley had an impressive showing. But Belair ended up getting the best of her, which means Belair is going to be the one to enter in last in the Elimination Chamber.
I believe that she won. Yes, yeah, that's correct.
I knew she did win. So, but I just wasn't sure. I think because they were talking up Rhea like she had been through a gauntlet of some sort.
She was there from the beginning. Yeah,
she was there from the beginning, and so she had a strong. She looked strong despite not winning that match, but just her showing. So. I think it poses those two as contenders to win this thing, but it just makes it really interesting. Just the way they kind of said, "Oh, keep Lily close," and Alexa Bliss is back to normal. I guess this was her last therapy session, and so now she's just kind of been ushered into this match. So I just kind of find it interesting how they just throw her in the match, but I think of course that led to having people like Asuka trending on Twitter again, wondering where she's at, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, be curious to see Alexa Bliss get back in the ring. I know it's been some time since we last seen her.
We've got Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch defending against Lita. Becky looked a hot mess this past week. She's not too excited about having to put down her hero, put her down like Old Yeller. She don't want to. She's gonna have to. Seth Rollins looked great. Nice gold suit.
Mm,
Drip God himself. Come on.
mm-mm.
No,
A little too
he's in
much for me.
this weekend. Bobby Lashley's gonna lose that championship once again. He's gonna face Brock Lesnar, Austin Theory, Seth frickin' Rollins, Riddle, AJ Styles. I think I got everyone in there. So we'll give our predictions again on Twitter. We're doing what else are we doing? What else do we have in this card?
Um,
Is that everything? That has to be more.
are Kofi and them doing
Mansoor is nowhere to
anything?
be found. Mansoor is nowhere to be found. Maybe he's
I
gonna sneak
think
in the department or something.
there'll be a late injury maybe in the elimination chamber, and then they have to swap it for Mansoor. Mansoor goes ahead, makes a run, and kind of gets yourself inserted into that WrestleMania main event against the champion of his choosing,
Well, it's for
or
the
not of
WWE.
his choosing, but for the WWE. Yeah,
I don't think
I
so.
just
I think
think
you're.
I just think Mansoor, if he wins, he should be able to choose whatever he wants. That's just my thought. Just my
Uh,
thought.
let's talk about the 2K22 ratings really quick. He got
Okay.
what, like an 80 something? Didn't
Oh
he get
yeah.
like way too high? Way too high.
He got it. He did get like an 80 something. And I forgot if I sent that to you first or you sent that to me, but I know we did
Hold
talk
on,
about it. Huh?
let me check this really quick because I
I
have
remember
it in
you. Uh-huh.
the. Let's see. He got an 80. And you said Mansoor getting some respect from 2K. I
He was
said
getting some respect from
it
2K,
was too high.
but
I
not
said
from
67.
Ethan.
I said 67 at best. You said
Sheesh.
disrespectful, and I said, and that's when he competes in Saudi. 64 everywhere else. So,
Sheesh. I
but anyway,
mean, it's
there were some
fair,
complaints
man.
about the ratings. I have
Was
some
there who was
numbers.
complaining?
Uh, Bailey and Sasha Banks got an
Ooh, what
88.
did they get? An 88? That's not bad.
Charlotte Flair got a 90.
Uh,
Becky Lynch,
okay.
92, the highest rated women's wrestler in the game.
Really
Kind of a little
interesting.
shocking that Charlotte wasn't that one.
Yeah,
Also,
they
yeah,
deducted 2 points for attitude.
um, Xavier Woods wasn't happy with his 86. He was on the bump. He got his
He was
revenge.
not happy about it.
He wasn't happy with his 86. Big E got
I mean,
87. And yeah,
okay.
so there you go. There's a few. Liv Morgan got a 77 or 79, excuse me. Or no,
Hmm.
that was Naomi. Naomi got a 79. Liv Morgan, I believe, got a 77. Carmella got a 79. So
Huh.
there, we got the
Wait,
Usos.
wait, wait,
That was
wait,
very
wait.
low at
Carmella
an
got what?
85. Too low. What'd you say?
Carmella got a what?
Who? Carmella got a
Carmella.
79.
Naomi got what?
I believe she also got a 79.
Uh-uh. That's
Naomi's
weird.
way too high. I agree. Way too high for Naomi.
No, way too. That's way too low.
Uh-huh.
You should be
We've
80
got
something.
Cesaro got an 84.
Yeah, now if they just book him like he was an 84.
Bianca Belair, 86.
99. What?
It's too high. I agree. I agree.
No, it's too low. She should be in the 90s.
Edge
Better than
got a 90.
Charlotte.
Edge got a 91.
Hmm.
Brock got a 94. Seth
Okay.
Rollins, I believe, either got a 91 or a 92.
Okay, they're pretty fair. I mean, like just overall, when you consider.
Our tribal chief with the highest rating,
Okay.
95.
Hmm.
We the ones.
Okay.
Acknowledge him.
So they didn't give anyone a 99. Huh?
95 as of now seems to be the highest. They gave Macho Man an 88.
I'm done.
I think the Legends should at least get a 90. I think a 90 is fair.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
something like the Macho Man, yeah, I think so.
90.
I don't know.
Hogan 92. Hall and Nash are 90. Hall and Nash kind of 90 over Macho.
You said
They probably
Goldberg.
Kevin Nash would book himself to be that
He
high,
probably
so
booked himself.
makes sense.
Did what did what did I say? Dang, I forgot the name. What did Bobby Lashley get?
Lashley, I believe, got 90,
Okay, that's not bad.
89 or 90.
Not
He
bad.
was up there. He was up there. Let's see. Did you watch the promo from Roman Reigns talking about Goldberg? I sent you the clip, Paul Heyman.
Yes. Yeah, I caught that part. I did.
I'm very
I
much like
thought
Paul
I
Heyman.
thought
I love my tribal chief as well.
yeah. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I think they're doing some good stuff there. Um let's just hope he doesn't blow it against Goldberg.
Don't jinx it. Don't
That'd be
jinx it.
pretty sad.
NXT Vengeance Day, really quick. Let's talk about. Say it with me, James. L
L
A.
A night. Mm-hmm.
He's getting his match against Grayson Waller. That's gonna happen. Your guy Braun Breaker successfully retained the championship against Santos Escobar, who had a nice Eddie Guerrero tribute attire. Very nice. He always has some nice tribute attire. Dolph
I
Ziggler
think it
got
was
a
like I think it was like an anniversary or like to the day
day he won the title, the
won the
WWE
title.
Championship. Yeah,
Yeah.
18 years, I want to say. 18 or 19
How many?
years. 18 or
Oh, maybe
19.
been that long. Yeah, sounds about right.
So yeah, it was really cool. Mandy Rose did not have a match. Very unfortunate.
Mm,
You know, although her partners, Toxic Attraction,
hmm
looking great as always. 5 stars automatically. They successfully
Not even
retained
in
it.
the. That's not even in the Tokyo Dome. That's just straight up.
That's straight up, not even a Tokyo Dome. Just by
Okay.
showing up. 5 stars.
Okay.
Magnificent. Perfect.
What do you think
We
about?
got
Go ahead.
Diamond Mine. Here you go, picking up the Dusty Trophy. The Creed brothers ended up defeating MSK. I know you're probably happy about that. You're
Yep.
not a big
Yes, it
fan of
was.
MSK. How dare you? Disrespectful. That's all right. The Diamond Mine, though, if they're going to lose to anyone, Diamond Mine makes sense. Really into these guys. And congratulations, they won the Dusty Cup. So there you go. Carmelo
And what do
Hayes
you?
successfully
Go ahead.
retained against your guy. Your guy has been losing. What's his name? I forgot his name already.
Oh, Cameron Grimes.
He went straight to the moon and
Okay.
then fell off because he lost last night.
Okay.
And then lastly, a steel cage match. Pete Dunne defeated Tony D'Angelo. So there you go. Pete Dunne got a victory in there.
And then we had Tommaso Ciampa, I think, pop up on either
Mhm.
on Raw, and we
Showed up on
had
Raw.
Ziggler pop up as well.
That's right. So they're having a little feud there. Ziggler's kind of having a feud with Braun Breaker as well. He interfered in the match last night, almost cost him the title,
That's right.
but didn't succeed there.
They got a pop out of me because I thought he was gonna get beat right there, and he kicked out of it. So I'll give him credit.
Looking forward to seeing where they go from here. But we've got next week's episode, a little preview. We're going to talk Elimination Chamber. I'm sure we'll hear more news regarding Cody Rhodes' departure from AEW and potential signing with WWE. Maybe we'll hear some more news about Stone Cold Steve Austin potentially making an appearance at WrestleMania. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania. A bunch of news coming out. Although on more next week's episode of Beyond the Ropes. But until next time, this episode of Beyond the Ropes 182 has been absolutely too sweet.